talk about the essay.
Okay, let's talk about
Because
this.
you spend a lot of time, and I also went through the
Editing
editing
process.
process. We both know what's going on.
A little bit.
Yes. So now, we for the project we talked about talking about the need for secularization, right? But then we moved the topic a little bit on a softer tone.
You were thinking that we should focus it strictly on separation of constitution, separation of a constitutional amendment,
Yes.
and focus just on that.
Just
and
like more concentrated on that.
on that issue,
Yes.
one issue only. And my suggestion was, since there was a limited word count, and this is the first time we're publishing something in a mainstream publication,
Yes.
that we do a broader explanation of what secularization is and what its benefits are.
Yes, and then also what the group at the infancy level,
What it looks
going
like,
through
what we're talking about,
yes,
you know,
we are trying to
what the
talk about.
background is.
Yes.
We're not trying to overthrow Buddhism.
Good. And that's the key point. Like
Right.
we don't want the Buddhist conservatives to think that this is
An
scheme,
anti-Buddhist organization. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's not
Western conspiracy.
Yeah, and
Right.
a bunch of NGOs
That's right.
interested in infiltrating.
Yeah, no. I have one of my family members is a monk, and they're all Buddhists. So.
Yes. So let's talk about like your the essay, like how you approached it. Yes, like you want me to define
Good.
the secularization is like you started on this is an old subject.
Yeah.
Like it's
possible that some of the Indian republics, even prior to the age of Alexander or so, were republics and had this, non-theocratic governmental framework where various tribes had their own different beliefs, but the central government, worked together. Outside of the government,
like you're in India specifically.
in India,
right?
in India.
In the Indians, one of the Indians I recently had a chat with also said that especially the Mughal Empire, like the Muslims ruled the majority Hindus that time,
Right.
and without bringing Islam into the Indian kingdom.
Okay.
So I am a little bit hesitant to go that because most of the
No, I was thinking even further back.
further back.
That when the Greeks under Alexander got to India, this was a historian would have to look this up exactly when, but this is way before the Mughals. This is prior or during the time of the Buddha, or even prior.
Right.
They found some of their notes found some kingdoms were theocratic monarchies, some kingdoms were republics, where various tribes with different religions and viewpoints still got together, created a central government that people can everyone could buy into and work with.
Go back to the topic of secularization. It's where you leave religion as a private matter of the citizens, and government focus on worldly matters, like you said.
Right.
They say what benefits the citizens in their day-to-day lives.
Right.
And focus
mainly in the Sri Lankan context.
Yes,
ending poverty,
development, human rights, education,
peaceful coexistence among communities.
Yes.
Because if you have a Tamil Hindu government or a Sinhala Buddhist government, you're going to alienate a significant amount. And so the idea is to try to get the central government to be neutral when it comes to religion. When it comes to religion, yeah.
It's not just. I think we present it. We keep our focus on secularization from separating religion. I think it goes beyond, like making humanity as one, and then not to make politics like under ethnocentric lines
divide,
or religious lines. Without doing that, building one citizenship.
Right, a common Sri Lankan identity.
Common identity that everybody can be
Buy
proud
into.
of or buy into, like that they can subscribe to, as we say in the website.
Right.
So in those ways, when we think about secularization, it's a continuation of the current government. It's not with a clearly leaving the religious boundaries.
Yeah,
outside.
it's not a huge difference.
It's not a huge difference.
It's just a it's just a matter of implementing things a certain way. You can't you can say you have a secular constitution, but if in action and the majority of the people, are interpreting things a certain way and going about things a certain way, where people who do not believe in a religion or people who believe in a minority religion are alienated, then the government being secular in name, it's not productive. It doesn't accomplish the goal.
Yes. When we want to focus on government affairs
outside of religion, except when if there's corruption or there's conflicts that are being caused by religious organizations, then the government has an overriding responsibility to deal with that.
Sujiva, like one thing when I first read your essay, like that what you said about the corruption part, like how affiliation of a religion to government can lead to further corruption.
Yes.
In the beginning, I did not think too seriously about it. It's actually a new, but the more you think about it, it brings a very interesting point that when you develop a partnership, especially an unfair partnership, that when you make a partnership with one religious institution and leaving the others out, like you can say for political reason, here I am giving this my good friend 10 cookies, and I'm going to give our other friends all
favoritism,
fringe benefits, like you can say, and justify it's not just one religion we are giving to others, but the reality is most of the taxpayer money goes to one religion right now. So when that happens, that particular group eventually over the long term develops unfair partnerships with the government officials, because for their survival, for their existence and power on the society, they rely on the government.
Yeah,
it's human nature.
And also government, like back in the olden days, the kings of various ancient kingdoms controlled the population through the churches and the temples. It's a global, worldwide issue. But if you don't want corruption that happens within government ranks to spread to religions, and if you don't want corruption that happens within religious ranks to spread to the government, because even within any one religion, the will agree. Some might be in favor of secularization. Some might to control the government, or that some might feel that we're best if we are left alone, to our own devices.
Yes.
Same way with the multi-ethnic, multi-religious government made up of people from the various backgrounds.
Absolutely, and we from the feedback that we are getting, people who focus on the Buddhist philosophy rather than the institution,
right?
Like who considers that institution has polluted the philosophy, and we want to focus on the Buddhist philosophy. They tend to take that open-minded view, saying this kind of unfair relationships lead to corruption. But those people are relatively quiet.
Well, because the country just got out of a war, there's patriotism being involved, war crimes still, there's people in prisons. So yeah, I think post-war situation, these ideas will slowly come up as other things get resolved.
Yes.
Government religion is not, unique to Sri Lanka. It's
unique to. It's really the point. Like, it's the issues that we are facing. It's not just for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, that's countries will have faced forever and will face even going forward forever.
One thing though, what I've seen is like what we came out is really not the same. Whole story happened with the JVP uprising in the late 80s.
Right, 70s, early 70s, then late 80s.
So Sri Lanka has gone since independence, like quite a few uprisings and ethnic struggles and
ethnic
conflicts. So to label them as ethnic issues is really what everybody has done over the
or religious issues.
Or religious. These are much more broad issues. I have to see, and I think that's why like secular governance kind of helps as a central solution. In my view, at least, I think once you establish a clean secular government with a separation wall, like how you have in the United States, like that new government cannot infiltrate the religious institutions or the vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, there's always breaches happening, but generally people accept.
Like whenever that breaches happen, there is a government mechanism, like what you call the constitution, which is protected by the judiciary.
Right, or there's third party, private, civil society, or people within the religions who say, well, this may work for us now, but what happens when X religion is the majority and they
Yeah.
Because I mean, separating the government and religions benefits every religion because it establishes. I mean, Buddhism will probably always be the majority religion in Sri Lanka, but let's say at some point, Islam becomes very popular, or Hinduism becomes very popular, right? So, is the country going to go back and forth and have these of the others? That's ridiculous.
So what we try to promote is the idea that public understands an old concept that everywhere in the world, currently,
many places,
not everywhere, not everywhere.
Many developed places.
Majority of the democracies in the world are secular.
Majority of the good ones. The majority of the good democracies.
I think when I look at the map, the Wikipedia map,
right,
only not many, like it captures all the countries, or like all the sovereign countries.
Right.
And like you said, the developed regions are definitely secular.
Yeah.
Okay? And even the underdeveloped regions, a lot of them are secular.
Practice.
In practice, they may not be, but once you become constitutionally separated, you can actually, whenever there is a violation, you can
redress from the constitution.
Yeah. You can seek addressing the grievances of the people through the court system.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that at the constitution level, the courts will throw it out.
And some people who talk about this issue say the things are in place already in Sri Lanka where a non-believer can get a fair access to and fair hearing and support from the government. But it's not the constitutional separation that matters. It's the general corruption where law and order in certain areas and certain issues is not strong. So that's a separate issue that we have to. I mean, you can't have just having constitutional separation on paper without enforcement.
No.
Without the public understanding will do no good.
Absolutely. Enforcement. I think first step to yes, absolutely, I agree with you that the enforcement part has to improve, and to get there, I think we need to have the architecture on the paper.
I think architecture on the paper is not going to happen until a significant number of people understand the value of it.
Yes.
So this is what we're doing.
That's what we're trying to promote. So hopefully, while we keep strictly non-partisan, so that all major political parties hopefully will develop interest in this direction. And it seems there were interest in the past, but they would be talking secularism, but they would be promoting ethnocentrism, ethnically divided political agendas.
Yeah, power bases arising from ethnic and religious
foundations. So you can, in that sense, you can really be a secularist or a promoter of secularism when you buy into that bad batch of principles.
Yeah, that's actually
that's
a good thing for us to look at as the secularism-related debates in India. In India, people who criticize the secular government say that they have set up a different set of rules for the Muslims and different set of rules for the Hindus. So the Hindu critics of secularism believe that. So that's an issue. I mean, we don't have a gigantic Hindu or gigantic Muslim population, so in Sri Lanka the issue is not going to come up. But for clarifying what, I mean, the problem that you were talking about is happening in India.
I'm glad that you brought up, and I actually was thinking about Indians talk very sort of in a proud way.
That they're secular?
That they are secular, but they are at the same, they have much more religious harmony than the West, because India does not have a clean wall of separation as they have in.
They don't have one law. Not everyone has. Not everyone's living under one law.
Yes.
So it's a bizarre. It's not secular. Everyone is equal before the law kind of setup that we see here in the U.S. and many other laws.
So in that way, I don't really agree with a lot of Indians that they show about their version of secularism, because it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, true. One religion is not dictating how the government does things, but various communities have just completely, ridiculously, different laws, like number of people you can marry versus if you're a Muslim versus number of people you can marry if you're Hindu. It's ridiculous.
It's India is still a good example for Sri Lanka to study.
Yeah, there are some issues that they've done well. They haven't had major ethnic wars.
They did actually. They became. I read a little bit about India. The reason is so strange, but how India became secular was through a major religious riot.
Okay, was it the Sikhs?
It's between the Muslims and the Hindus. There was like a huge bloodbath during Indira Gandhi's time.
Well, wasn't it always secular from the beginning, from the 40s?
They when I think it was given independence, I should not be commenting on that because I don't exactly remember the facts. Things have changed over, just like what you probably it was.
Mm-hmm.
But with all the amendments, this and that, you have favoritism to Hindus versus others. So it happened in Pakistan. It happened with the Hindu majority, in the national. When the politics go in that direction, it got all polarized.
I see. So in the Gandhi time.
Early 70s, I believe. It's on our website.
Okay.
And after the riots, they included into the constitution, actually the document, not the official constitution, they renamed the country, saying instead of Socialist Republic of India, it's a secular Socialist Republic. Socialist Secular Republic of India. Yeah. So the official name of the country has the word secular on it. With that, even though the constitution does not have a very clean statement,
it might. I mean, we have a Indian constitution.
What I read was the other parts of the constitution it does not.
Okay.
Clearly say that. But the name of the country carries on the title of the country.
It supports secularism.
The words are there. It's a secular republic. So because of that, the Supreme Courts have to make the decisions taking it as a secular country.
India is a unique
Yes.
case because it's one of the biggest countries on the planet.
Yes.
It's got this massive Hindu community, massive Muslim community. So yeah, of limited interest to Sri Lanka. But I mean, looking at a smaller country like Japan,
Yes.
it might be useful because I mean.
And again, you need to think about is that really progress economic side and in the social values in terms of human rights,
individual
liberties like
property ownership.
Like once when we develop a model for a young nation, we need to think about what has been successful and that drove those civil liberties.
Right. Well, one
benefit everybody.
Yeah, one benefit of our model is it doesn't lock you into just one path. That if you feel that it does. If you are a Buddhist government, it may lead you into select possible from the Buddhist tradition or the Buddhist government tradition. If you're a secular republic, you can look around and say, hey, how did this country over here solve this issue? How did this country solve it? Let's take a look at it. Let's adapt it to local needs. It gives you more flexibility.
Yes. And I think when we talk about a secular rights constitution and with the wall of separation where the judiciary can keep a check on the government, whether it's there or what, that doesn't prevent the Buddhist institutions, most of their privileges, like the historical temples and not just Buddhists, Hindus and major institutions, they can, the ones that are part of the cultural and historical life of Sri Lanka society, they can be still practiced.
And everyone will still be protected. This just makes it a level playing field when you take into people part of the majority religion that is being supported by the government, and people who are non-religious also.
Yes, and what we don't like is when you enforce prohibitions left and right on the citizens.
Because
based on the religious values, like
right.
You whether you wanna what you wanna do on a full moon day is decided by a government. Your children on the day of your wish.
Right.
Because of the religious institutions views. And at the same time, you can't practice your birth control and even issues like very socially controversial issues like abortion or other social issues.
Yeah.
If those things are decided on ancient religious values that only one part of the society holds, and you enforce it on other people, and within that group, like nobody agrees on those positions. So how that
it's a recipe for disaster.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Because everyone will want their own holidays.
Yeah, you want to promote what we said earlier, that equal rights and opportunity, and focus on civil liberties, not really control the mass society and its culture on one particular set of values.
Yeah. We're coming up on 30 minutes, so let's wrap it up for now.
Wrap it up, right. I think that's...
So going forward, what we want to see is, through that SSL site, Secular Sri Lanka site, is people who are interested in secularization and improving Sri Lanka through that path come together and join the conversation and bring out new ideas, point out new problems.
People to come and make a dialogue.
I mean, we need strong, strong civil society places like that site and live meetings, etc., to strengthen various things so that nothing will get done properly if this could be the sex and playing fair by everyone could render a great service to Sri Lanka by making their voices heard and fine-tuning and developing some of these ideas.
Great. And I think let's carry another conversation soon. So this is a great input for a lot of people to get to know the group.
Okay. Good.